So today I want to talk about something that many foreigners like me deal with very often living abroad. It's not racism, exactly. It's not hostility. It's a form of curiosity, I would say. It's the kind that starts with good intentions, but it gets really awkward really fast and it makes you feel like a walking, talking stereotype. So you're probably wondering, what am I talking about? I'll give you an example so you understand. Oh my gosh, so you're from Zimbabwe? That must be amazing. Did you grow with lions and elephants as pets? Do you see what I'm talking about? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. Because after 18 years in this country, I used to smile through those questions and, try and be diplomatic, but I'm so over it. And one day I'm going to have to explain to my son why people ask those questions. And I'm going to have to equip him with good answers for those kind of questions. Hi guys, and welcome back to AKA Mama. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tafara, and in this space I talk about raising children abroad, motherhood, parenting, and it's generally a space where we have wholesome and real talk about this parenting journey. So today I'm talking about this topic of these questions that people ask, that I personally find inappropriate. And now I've reached a point where I'm so tired of answering these questions. Like, oh my gosh, I know I had colleagues that asked me back then if we had elephants in our backyard. So I used to make fun of these things because at some point you find it funny, but now I'm just like, ugh, I'm tired. I can't answer these questions anymore. But this was in a meeting. My colleague asked me, he's like, oh my gosh, so did you grow up with lions and elephants as pets? And I was like, yeah, actually. And my parents did something very interesting with them when they died, because they were like a part of our family. My parents kept the bones, and we also kept the bones like our toys, and we would make music with them, and I would carry the bones and run around. And as I'm narrating, her eyes were getting bigger and bigger, and I'm thinking she's just gonna say to me, ha ha ha. She's like, oh my gosh, tell me more. And it's like, it did not work. It didn't work. I don't know, man. I personally have not yet watched documentaries where they show us Africans. I'm talking about National Geographic. I'm not talking about parody or comedy where we have elephants as house pets. I haven't seen those, and I don't know anyone that had them. And I absolutely love going on safari. Every single time I go home, I go on safari because even I want to see these animals. We don't have them as house pets. I don't know if for some people those kind of questions are icebreakers, but it's actually not an icebreaker. It just makes me feel like I'm not a person like from a proper country, but maybe I'm someone from a documentary somebody half watched and they actually didn't pay attention. Another one that I find absolutely annoying, and I was asked this 2 weeks ago when somebody found out that I'm from Zimbabwe and she thought I was born here. She's like, oh my gosh, do you still have family in Zimbabwe? I'm like, yes, I have family there and my parents live there. Oh, I could never do that. I could never be so far away from my family. Okay, how am I supposed to respond to that? Like, kudos for you, you could never do that, but I'm doing it. So what does it actually say about me? It's like a very awkward one to navigate. Like, really just stop and think about what you're saying or what you're asking or what you're commenting before you say it. Because yeah, it may be coming from a good place, but it's actually a very insensitive comment to make. Tagging onto that one, I also had mid-conversation. I was on a play date with my son and a friend of his, and the mom just asked me mid-conversation, so when do you plan on going back to Zimbabwe? Why is that something you can casually ask a person? Did I say I'm planning on going back to Zimbabwe? Like, that actually indirectly implies, nice to have you here, but you don't belong here, so maybe you've overstayed your welcome. When are you going back home? I do have plans to go back to Zimbabwe. If I want to bring those plans up with somebody and discuss it, it's a decision I make myself. Not somebody imply that, I've been here long enough, I should be heading back home. This is not what people mean when they make those comments. I know it, but that's what it comes across as. Don't just assume that just because somebody comes from some country, they want to speak with everybody about their plans of when they're going back home, when they're not going back home. And you may actually not know what's holding a person back from going back home. So don't ask those questions. It's insensitive. And also, especially now with my child, I mean, all right, he's still small right now. But imagine somebody mid-conversation just asking me, so, when do you plan on going back to Zimbabwe? This is a conversation I haven't had with my son. He might now think, oh my gosh, wait, we're moving to Zim. He'll start thinking about his friends and school and all those things. It may really unsettle a child. So don't think just because you're so curious, you can air something as you please without taking the other person into consideration. I think my reaction will be very different if somebody just randomly asks me that question from out of the blue when my son is now old enough to understand, the implications and what it actually means to make such a move. Because now you've indirectly cornered me to have a conversation with my child I wasn't even planning on having. Because he might be like, oh my gosh, let's go tomorrow. Now I have to tell him why we can't go tomorrow. Or he might be like, oh my gosh, mama, I want to stay here. My friends, my school, my whatever it is. So it's not an appropriate question to just ask somebody, unsolicited. Oh my gosh, this one is so annoying. Oh my gosh, your English is so good. Wait, what did you expect me to do? To bark and speak in jungle language? Well, since somebody thinks that maybe we have elephants and lions as pets. The interesting thing, obviously I then say English is the official language in Zimbabwe. We have 16 languages in Zimbabwe. There's some people that speak their native languages, and what then connects us is English. But I don't want to always go into that because many people be like, oh yeah, you guys were a British colony, by the way. That makes sense. And it's like, yeah, I grew up speaking English. I grew up writing and reading English, additional to the native languages. So I don't take it as a compliment when people say to me, oh my gosh, your English is so good. It's like, stop saying it. It's the same as if, it would be comparable if I said to a German person, oh my gosh, your German is so good. Yeah, German is the official language in this country. Your German should be good. The same way my English should be good because that's the official, language in Zimbabwe. Yeah, and when the whole thing with the US president and the Liberian president happened, people were like, oh my gosh, Trump was so embarrassing. Did you hear what he asked the Liberian president? I was like, yeah, that was just a reflection of the conversations I've had countless times. Very embarrassing. It was actually, I was also embarrassed, but I was like, yeah, good for people to see it in this light because now they can reflect on what it actually looks like when they ask foreigners that question. Ooh, but on the languages front, here is the winner. Do you speak African? I used to find it fun. I'll confess, in the beginning, everything was funny because I was like, this is ridiculous. Who's this idea coming from? But at some point, when you've heard the same question 20 to 50 times, it becomes annoying. Because it's like, you guys, Africa is a large continent with over 2,000 languages. Yes, of course, I speak Shona, I speak a bit of Ndebele, but we have our own languages and they're not called African. It's like, asking a person, do you speak European? There's no such language as European. And every time I, bounce this back, people always smirk or laugh. And it's like, yeah, that's how ridiculous your question is. I know sometimes people are just curious and they really want to connect. But sometimes curiosity with no context, it has the complete opposite effect. And I really wish people would think 10 times harder before they speak, because sometimes that can just really be the difference between you and a person getting along or not getting along. It takes one stupid question about where somebody comes from, and then the chemistry is completely off. And I know my child is going to have to witness these conversations happening one day, and he's going to have to see me react a certain way. And one day people are also going to be asking him these stupid questions, and I'm gonna have to equip him with answers on how to navigate those things, hopefully with less irritation than me. One I've never managed to get my head around is when a person says, "Oh, it must be so difficult being from there." Where is there? The jungle? A war zone? Like a third world country? What does there actually mean? I've never been able to get my head around that, because back home there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of family, there's a lot of laughter. Of course, there are also struggles, but there's something triggering about a person saying it must be hard coming from there. What does there actually mean? I mean, the next time a person says that, I'm going to ask them what they explicitly mean by saying there, because that really kind of throws me off. So I think instead of what I remember when I was like within my very first few weeks here in Germany, we were having breakfast, and one of my guest mom's friend looked at me. And when a person is looking at you and you can tell they're about to ask you something, she watched me and then she asked a question. She's like, "Do you have butter in Zimbabwe?" Okay, I was 18, I was new to this country, I was young. I said, "Yeah, we have butter, I explained to her we have cows and whatnot." But that question, retrospectively, it still triggers me, because why would we not have butter in Zimbabwe? It's like, what picture do you have of what my home country actually looks like? These questions are so stupid. So instead of asking a person, "Do you have internet there?" If you are genuinely interested, if you want to know about a person's home country, if you want to know what it's like there, if you want to connect with a person, you can start by asking them, "What do you miss the most about home?" Oh, if somebody asks me what I miss the most about home, that's a conversation, I'm happy to have, and you're going to get more insightful information, as opposed to asking me if I had lions and elephants as pets growing up. A good question that one could also ask could be like, what's one thing you feel I may not know about Zimbabwe? Oh my, many things that may cross my mind. I'll be like, "Oh, do you know about this, or do you know about that?" That's like really a rich conversation that benefits the listener or the person asking. You're not learning anything by asking me if we had safari animals as pets, because that stuff you can find out by yourself on the internet. But if you want to connect and get closer to somebody's home country and get information you normally are not easily going to get through a Google search, ask that instead. Oh, instead of saying to somebody, say something in your language. Oh, that question, it's like ausgelutscht. It's exhausted. Yeah, I mean, what do I say? I often then say to people, "You tell me something to say, I'll translate it," but that's lame, man. You can ask a person, "What's your favorite word, or what's your favorite saying in Shona, and what does it mean to you, or what does it mean?" That's a richer conversation, more insightful, better connection than randomly asking a person to say a word or something, in their native language. I came here to live, to learn, to build, and to belong. So, I would highly urge people, when asking somebody from a different country questions, really think a little bit harder what you're asking could imply. Is this question about learning, or is it about labeling? When you ask me about having safari animals as pets, that doesn't feel like you're actually interested in learning. That feels like you're labeling. There's something, you're associating me with something from somewhere. You've already made the conclusion in your head before you've asked that question, and it's not ideal. Of course, we all want to connect, so let's do it with a lot of kindness and humility, and a little less talk about the lions. If this resonated with you, share it. Let's start the conversation, and let's rewrite how we talk with each other. So I hope you enjoyed this video. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about one series that I highly recommend. In general, I highly recommend that all parents watch the series. But as a bare minimum, at least parents raising children abroad. That's what I'll be talking about next week. So I hope you'll be looking out for that video. Thanks for watching this far. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe and share. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.